Hey Ian, in your videos you talk about connecting with each other, basically striving towards a collective consciousness. And it sort of reminded me of this book called Gödel Escher Bach and Eternal Golden Braid. And it's basically about all kinds of stuff. Zen, it's about artificial intelligence, math, self-reproducing machines, logic and truth and transcendence and all that kind of thing. And in that book there's this section on ant hills. And the interesting thing with ant hills is that, seen as a whole, an ant hill is fairly intelligent. It can find like optimal routes to food, it can defend itself from predators, it can fight wars with other ant hills, it can reproduce, and so on. But the paradox is each individual ant is pretty stupid. But, okay, by the interaction of the ants with each other, by like dropping pheromones and whatnot, basically the ants form a group intelligence, a transcendent hyper-intelligence, sort of like Jung's collective subconscious or whatever. And I'm thinking, if you could make a hill out of people by networking their minds together via the internet or whatever, it wouldn't just be sort of smart, it would be just a level beyond, it would be a transcendent being, it would be some kind of god. And no one person would be able to understand it. And I've been thinking that, like, the human race has been reaching towards this goal all this time. It's been set back by wars, but maybe, if we're lucky or whatever, we'll reach this in like 30 years or whatever. And yeah, and like computer scientists refer to this as like as the singularity. You might know about that. And some people think this is a good thing. But I remember reading this other book called The Once and Future King about Arthur. It tells how Merlin turns Arthur into an ant and sends him to live in this ant hill, and basically it's a really awful dystopia. All the ants are exactly the same. They all think exactly the same. They all look exactly the same. They all eat exactly the same food. Their only adjectives are good and bad. And they all listen to the same propaganda. And it's really boring. And I think that by making connections with other people, via the internet or whatever, the human race as a whole benefits and the collective consciousness becomes more powerful. But I think ultimately the singularity is going to be the death of the individual. You say we're all the same, but if we actually truly start sharing exactly the same experience, we really will be exactly the same. And I think basically we're going to lose our whole sense of self. Okay, and I think the only way humans are going to be able to survive that while staying sane is to go completely unconscious. We'll just be floating there. We'll lose all conscious thought. So, just wanted to throw that out there. I'll get some sleep or something.